First of all, thank you for taking the time out to speak. I know both of you just have to be elated that this weekend is happening.
Absolutely. It's a little bit surreal, actually, being here and seeing so many of the coaches that my dad was such a huge fan of other people and of players. And, so I can imagine how honored he would be to be a part of this class of 2023. And I said I can just imagine him kind of like running around looking for somebody to hug during this honor. So we are really proud to be here to represent him.
I was just going to say he had such he believed so much in the sport of basketball, and he had so many stories about other coaches and other players and legends. And I think for him to be inducted in this society of esteemed coaches and players, and I think he would be elated and thrilled to be part of the legacy that he so much worshipped as a kid in New York City.
Leanne, I'll start with you and ask this question, and then Jamie, you can follow up as well. What's it like for you guys? I mean, you guys were raised by a legend, and so many people honor and adore your father. So what's this ride been like for you guys? I know this has been just surreal.
I think for me, he taught me so much more than just, thriving for your dreams in basketball. He really taught me to live fully and to reach out and be an impact for others, no matter where you were, no matter how, what, occupation you were in. Seeing him put his enthusiasm and dedication to everything he did, no matter who he talked to, it just taught me to live really that each day to do the most you can in that day, to live, to laugh, to think, and to cry. It wasn't just for that speech. It was from the time I was a baby. I saw him enact his and be that every single day. So for me, it's emotional to see him, reach to this, sort of status, and him not be here. I obviously miss him dearly, but I do know that even today on the elevator, we met a couple who at the family funeral, they had a donation for the V Foundation, and this was, their loved one passed, and I just can't believe how much he's impacted much longer after basketball.
I live in North Carolina, and so a day doesn't go by when I don't meet someone who has a Jimmy V story. Mm-hmm. And usually they're funny, obviously. And I just think to myself, how did he meet this many people and impact them in such a powerful way, far beyond basketball? I mean, we just meet people, little gray-haired ladies, all the way to young people that, were not even here when he won the 83 championship. And they just, all of them have stories about different ways that he impacted them. And so I am so proud. I consider myself a North Carolinian, so I'm so proud, obviously, of the home we've created. And again, the sports community, Leanne and I did not grow up as athletes, so we can tell you, I say with shame that I cannot even dribble a basketball. I tell people that. But what I will tell you is that the sports community has been unbelievable in embracing my dad's legacy and making sure that his, final dream is realized of finding a cure for cancer. And we woke up this morning, one of the first people that called me to congratulate us and just say he was thinking about us was Mike Krzyzewski. And then we got a phone call from Dick Vitale, and then it just kept going on and on, people calling us former players. And that's really what is heartwarming, because my dad loved people. I mean, people are what truly mattered to him. And so to see this community of people that have come around him and are still celebrating him is absolutely life-changing for us. And it is just powerful for everybody to see that, we all have the opportunity to leave a lasting legacy and to have an impact on the world around us. And so I hope that when people see this, they don't just think about a basketball coach, but they think about, a humanitarian who just loved to make other people laugh.
Well, speaking of a good Jimmy V story, in February, we celebrated the 40th anniversary of the 1983 championship. And it was just truly amazing, and already one of the highlights of my career here.
Yeah.
Just being able to stand beside those guys while they sit and tell stories and reminisce. They're telling me stuff about the tournament and the hotel,
Yes.
one of the hotels they stayed in. And remembering what your father told them on the road when they were,
Yes.
you know, during one of the practices, and they were laughing nonstop. So those memories, even to me, you know, they just give me really, really good feelings.
Yeah,
I
and
want to.
those are the gifts that we have as well, because we were young when all of that was going on. And so, you know, we weren't privy to all of the ins and outs of my dad's career as a coach. And so again, to hear those stories from his former players, and then also, you know, to come here and meet some of his contemporaries as coaches, and you know, just listening to the stories that they have about my dad is just, it really is so rewarding for us as a family, because we get to relive all of that. You know, Leanne's children are here, his grandchildren, his grandson Rocco, who's named after his dad, and you know, little Louisa. And for us this morning to take a picture with his grandchildren and a big picture of him is just so inspiring for us, because, you know, again, it's just that the lasting legacy and other generations being touched by his spirit. So we love it.
The legacy obviously goes beyond basketball. So, you know, how important is it, and what ESPN's done and what your father started to continue the legacy of the V Foundation since its inception?
Yeah, it's amazing to think about the fact that it was 30 years ago when my dad stood on a stage and delivered those words at the ESPYs, and 30 years later, we've raised over $300 million for cancer research. We have V scholars all over the country that are just performing life-saving research, and all of this was put in motion because of my dad and his relationship with ESPN. And I shared this as a personal story of myself. I was sitting next to him when he delivered that speech, and he said, you know, it may not save my life, it may save my children's lives, it may save someone you love. And in August, I'll be an 18-year cancer survivor. And, you know, I inherited a mutation from my dad that made me more susceptible to the disease, but he left the game plan so that not only I could survive, but other people could survive and have hope and thrive through, whether it's cancer or any other challenge that they're facing. That's kind of what my dad represented in that moment. And so I personally, a day doesn't go by that I don't thank my dad for saving my life. I'm certainly proud as a daughter of all that he's been able to accomplish on and off the court. But as a cancer survivor, I'm even more grateful that he had the courage to step up and put all of this in motion so that other people could survive.
That's incredible. And Leanne, if you could just touch on just the impact beyond, you know, the things on the court. Sure, there's plenty more as well.
Well, I think he also just, in the V Foundation, it just showed what a visionary he was. And I think the power to dream and the power to create an impact much more than your just day-to-day life is what I think he, you know, my son and their friends and things, they always say, don't give up, don't ever give up. Oh, I know that, you know, and, you know, they're not even, you know, nowhere near where they would have heard the ESPY speech or even know about the 83 team. So I think for me and seeing the V Foundation and how it actually has saved lives, it has actually made a difference in the cancer, you know, trajectory in our country, and how people can survive. It shows that a dream is not just cutting down the nets at a basketball tournament, but your dream can actually make a difference. And so for me and for raising children in this, you know, in this day and age, and for him to be able to leave that legacy is something that I am just so proud to be a part of. And every V Foundation event I go to, I am blown away by the stories of these V scholars and the work that they're doing. And we were just at the 30th anniversary, and they were doing research around animals and that have cancer now. And I just got a puppy, and I just started to cry. I said, I can't even believe that this is now farther than people. You know, Jimmy V, I mean, how did he do this? And so Jamie and I always talk about that. We're like, how has this lasted this long? And there's something special in his message. There was something special in the ESPN, his team of friends that came and moved this along. There was a special sauce. I think it had something to do with his earnestness and his his speech that really moved us to live bigger. And so I'm just proud of the vision that he was able to achieve much bigger than basketball.
I want to just reiterate how important team is, the team, because again, as people are watching this, there are so many people from North Carolina, from NC State, from all of the ACC schools, sports fans from all over the country. The reason my dad is being honored this weekend and being inducted into Hall of Fame has a lot to do with his team, the players, the fans, the university. So although his name might be the one that is going to be announced in the enshrinement, it's a team of people that allowed him to cut down those nets to live out his dreams. And so I think that is another really a powerful message that my dad left us, is that we need to be surrounded by a united team in order to accomplish extraordinary things.
Jamie, I guess my next question is, what is something, I know there are probably plenty of things, what's something that, you would want people to know about your dad that they may not know?
So, so many people talk about him as a coach, as a sports commentator. To us, he was just dad. And one of the things that I loved about him was he was an English major at Rutgers University, and he loved poetry and he loved literature. I mean, he'd be a great Jeopardy contestant because he knew a little bit about everything. He always had a book in his hand. One summer, he reread all the works of Shakespeare. Whenever we would come to him and we would be complaining about something, he might quote something from King Lear, or he might talk about, a Robert Frost poem, The Road Not Taken. And so to me, the most precious memories I have of my dad are I think of him as a poet, of him sitting at the dinner table and sharing some poetry. And, those are things that I miss the most, that people would probably be shocked to think about it. It wasn't always about X's and O's. Sometimes it was about rhyme and verse, and thinking about just the human spirit and just the human condition. And so that's how I love to remember him in my private moments.
Leanne, and I'm sure you, as the baby, probably have a different perspective as well, if you could share that.
Absolutely. The first thing that came to my mind was, he played a game. He played basketball. That was his livelihood. And yet whenever you saw him coaching on the sidelines, he seemed a little intense. He seemed that it meant a lot of what the moment was in front of him on the court. But as a young child, the power he left with me is the power of play. We would be waiting for a restaurant to, have a table ready, and he would turn to me and he'd say, "Hey, you want to do standing long jump? We'll see a contest who can, jump the farthest." And I was like, sure. He would take me to school and we would try to sing Frank Sinatra, Who Could Sing Louder? You Make Me Feel So Young. My fourth grade assignment, I had to create a country, and he was home and he helped me create an entire island off the coast of Italy called Rococo, which was based off of my grandpa Rocco. And when I tell you, he dove so deeply into this project with me because it was play and it was fun and imagination. And so I think what's interesting is playing basketball could be, an intense and seemingly very important, but when he came home, he could also be really playful and silly and always making.
But I will tell you, he still beat us.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the goal was, it didn't matter what we were playing. He would be like, he'd look at me and he'd say, "Watch, I think I can make your sister cry." And so he still would beat us. We were children, and we thought, how competitive is he? But yeah, he still had to win.
Yeah,
every game, whether it was a board game or whether it was that, whatever it was. Yeah. Dad was going to beat us.
That is awesome. I think I'm at the same point. Like, I'm not ready to lose to my kids yet. Like, I'm not ready to give them that. So as long as they're in my house under my roof, I think I'm going to aim for the same.
Yeah, I was going to say that was it. That was him. I mean, he was not surely he would want to boost our self-esteem and let us win, but that competitiveness, he could not leave it behind, even playing Monopoly. And so, yeah, that was, very funny about him.
Speaking with you all and you all telling these stories, I wish you all knew, beyond the TV thing that we'll do tonight, just how much it's had an impact on me. So take that with you this weekend, and I hope you all really enjoy and your family really enjoys. You all thoroughly deserve it, and we'll be celebrating your father, the legend, here in North Carolina this weekend.
Thank you for spreading his spirit to other people. We appreciate it.